Lesson 1.1. Object here is to get our feet wet with this interface, GeoGebra. Okay, so copy this figure using only the pen tool and no other tools. All right, here we go. This is the pen tool. Let's see what this thing looks like. All right, I'm going to try and copy this, and there we go. That's a circle-ish thing, and another circle-ish thing, and that really sucks. But the whole point of this is that it's almost impossible to get this thing to look right using just the pen tool. So we're going to introduce a whole bunch of other tools. What I want you to do here is I just want you to mess around with each tool. So this is just for moving things. This is for making points. So let's make some points. Bing, bing, bing. Doesn't really matter where we go, okay? All right, let's try this. This is the this is the segment tool. We can pick any 2 points or positions and it will give us a line segment between those two. Ta-da! Amazing, right? This is the move tool. It allows you to move points around, or anything actually, but you have to grab onto a point most of the time to move it. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, this is the line tool. The line tool connects 2 points and creates a line. A line goes on forever in both directions. So just click some stuff, make some lines. All right. The next one over here is the ray tool. It's basically like a half a line. Starts at one point and then it goes on forever, kind of like a laser beam. We talked about that in class. Right, there you go. All right, cool design, whatever. If I don't feel like I like the way things are, I can move them around, whatever. Okay. This is the circle with a center through the point. We are not going to use this tool very much at all this year. I would try to ignore it. This is the tool, the compass tool that we are going to use. It allows us to pick 2 points, 1, 2, and it gives us a circle that uses that as the radius, right? The distance from the center out to the edge of the circle, and then we decide where we want to put the center. And I can put it there, right? I can choose another 2 points. It doesn't really matter which ones I choose. I can choose D and E, and I get a different size circle, right? And I can put it anywhere I want to. Notice I'm just clicking. I'm not dragging any of these things. These are just clicks. And then we have the polygon tool, right? That starts off with just a click and a click. And hey, I got another, let's put another click here, and another click here, and another click here, and another click. Oh boy, I'm really in trouble now. I don't really like this. So since I don't like this, where did I start? I think here, yeah. I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete that. So this is the undo. This is the undo button. You can go back. I can go back really far, or I can go forwards again. Okay, so polygon tool. I'm just going to make this, whoops, I'm going to make this pretty simple. I'm just going to go F, E, B, C, oops, D, C. And notice I'm not done yet until I close it off, and then that'll stop it, okay? And of course, if I decide to move any of these things around, all of the points end up moving as well, and so do the shapes. Okay, we didn't talk about this one or this one, so let's talk about those right now. And I think this would be, let's try that, okay? So, the point on object tool, it'll give you a point and it'll attach it to an object. So if I wanted to put a point on this line somewhere, I could click right there and that point would be attached to that line. So if I try to move it, it won't move up or down, it'll only slide along the line. Same thing with if I click it on a circle, I can move it, whoops, I can move it on the circle, but I can't pull it off of the circle, okay? So this is called the intersect tool. You select an intersection or 2 objects together. All right, so if I like, let's say, where this ray here, this red ray, hits this circle, and that creates an intersection, just like two streets where they cross. That's called an intersection. So I can mark that, and notice I'm using the very tip of the pointer. I'm not using the middle of the arrow, just the very pointy tip of the arrow to make the point. The other thing that you can do with the intersect tool, let's say you have two things that you want to intersect, and they have more than one intersection point. For instance, this circle here and this circle here, they cross in two places, right here and right here. So what I can do is I can actually select this circle. Notice that it highlights a little bit there. And I select this circle here, and it automatically finds the two intersection points for us and makes a label for them. Okay, so task 3, here we go. Now we're going to copy this figure by using the instructions down here in task 4. Okay, so it says copy the figure by completing these steps with the line, segment, ray tools, and the circle and compass tools. Okay, so here we go. Draw a point and label it A. Well, obviously I'm going to use the point tool, and here we go. Boom. It automatically labels it A. It does them in alphabetical order, in case you haven't noticed that. Draw a circle centered at point A with a radius equal to length PQ. Okay, so again, I'm using the compass tool. I am going to use, we've talked about radius before. The radius is a distance from the center out to the edge of a circle, right? It doesn't matter what direction you go, it has to be the same distance. So from P to Q is going to be my radius. So I'm going to borrow that radius using the compass tool by clicking on P and then clicking on Q, and notice now I have a circle. It's going to follow me around until I decide where to put the center. Well, where does it say to put the center? Draw a circle centered at point A. Okay, so I'm going to click right there on point A. Right now I've got my circle centered at point A, and the radius for this is exactly the same as the radius up here. Mark a point on the circle and label it B. Well, that would be the point on object tool. The point on object tool, remember, gives us a point right on the object, and we can't move that point off of there. It's going to be stuck there, right? It doesn't come off, okay? All right, it automatically labels it B. Then it says, my dog has buttons, they say things, in case you're hearing that in the background. Draw another circle centered at point B. So B is going to be the center, and it has to go through point A. So again, I'm going to use the compass tool, and I'm going to use B and A as my radius, and I'm going to center it at B. Notice how it kind of clicks in there, and then there we go. And then it says draw a line segment between points A and B. A line segment is just has two endpoints, right? So segment between A and B, and there we go. Now point B here should be, I guess, level like that, and now it should look just like this. Notice that if I try to drag point B off of here, the circles don't change size, right? I can make this circle go round and round, but the circles aren't going to change size if I try to drag that. Okay, great. Next, task 5. All right, so just like before, the task is here and the instructions are down here. It says create a circle centered at A with a radius of AB. Okay, so again, I'm using the compass tool. Radius of AB, and it says centered at A. Okay, so centered at A. There we go. Estimate the midpoint of segment AB. So where's the midpoint, the middle point? I'm going to say it's going to be right. I'm using the point on object tool because I want it to stick to this line. I'm going to say it's right around, I don't know, right around there. Okay. All right. Then it says create a circle centered at B with a radius of BC. Okay, again, compass tool. And it says centered at B with a radius of BC. Okay, so BC is going to be my radius. And it says centered at B, so right there. Okay, mark the two intersection points with the intersection tool. Label the one toward the top of the page as D and the one toward the bottom as E. Okay, so since they go in alphabetical order, I'm going to use this intersection tool, and I'm going to click up here. That will be D, and this will be E. There we go. Then it says use the polygon tool to connect points A, D, and E to make triangle ADE. All right, here we go. A, D, E, and back to A, because I'm not done yet. It thinks I'm still trying to click a bunch of points. And back to A, and that'll close it off. Ta-da! All right, task 7. Here is a hexagon with all congruent angles and all congruent sides, also called a regular hexagon. Congruent angles. Congruent means exactly the same. Same in size and same size and same shape. Okay, so the angles, right, this angle here and this angle here and this angle here are all the same all the way around. And the sides are all the same. The length of this side, the length of that side, they're all the same, right? Try and draw a copy using only the pen tool. Well, we know how well this went last time. You will see here my amazing artistic skills. And here we go. I am making a hexagon and I am copying it perfectly, and it is absolutely wonderful. Actually, that is kind of good compared with what I usually am able to draw. Let me see. Hey, that is pretty good. Well, all right, but it still looks like crap. It's all wobbly and stuff like that. So we're going to show how we can make it really cleanly. So this is kind of complicated. Follow along. Watch it first, and then watch it a second time to follow along. Here we go. Here's a figure that shows the first steps to constructing the regular hexagon. Use straight edge and compass. So straight edge is stuff like the line segment, and the ray tool, polygon, that's all straight edges, and the compass tool to finish constructing the regular hexagon. It seems weird that I'm using a compass that makes circles to make a hexagon, but we'll find out how it works. Drag the given one onto yours and confirm that it fits perfectly onto itself. Okay, so here we go. Let's try this. We're going to focus on this circle right here. Okay, the one on the left is the one we're focusing on. Okay, notice they've given us one side, so we're going to end up with boop, 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 all the way around. Okay, but we're going to use the compass tool to do that. So here we go. First of all, this is an intersection point. It is not labeled yet. So we're going to take our intersection tool and we are going to label it, mark it right there like that. Ta-da! Okay, next, I'm going to use the compass tool, and I am going to borrow this radius from these two black dots, and I'm just going to keep using the same radius all the way around. Here we go. There's my radius, borrowing that, and I'm going to put it right on D. Now that created a new intersection point over here. So I'm basically just going to work my way right around the edge of this circle with all these intersecting points. So here we go. Intersection tool. Boom. There we go. These are going in alphabetical order. Surprise, surprise. All right, now I'm going to take the compass tool. I'm going to take the two black dots as my radius, and I'm going to put it on E this time. Notice it also hit D. All right. There's a new intersection point. Here we go. Intersection tool. Boom, carefully, so that we make sure that we hit it exactly. Remember to use the tip of the arrow. All right, compass tool now, taking the same radius again, and this time we're putting on F, and we got a new intersection point down there. Grab the intersect tool, down here, click. All right, and one last circle. Again, I'm using the same radius. Right, and then I'm going to put that down there on G. Oh, you know what? I feel like I'm missing another circle. I got to put another circle right here just to make it look nice. All right, here we go. Taking the radius from here, and I'm going to put the circle right there. All right, and we got a little flower-shaped thing here. But I'm going to use the line segment tool here to connect all of these guys and see if it matches perfectly with the one that's up top. Now before I do that, I want to take a look at the move tool. Notice that if I try to move any of these points, if I grab onto them and drag them, they do not move. This is one way you can test whether you did it right. Okay, grab onto these dots and see if they will move. If they don't move, it means you lock them into that intersection point and they're not going to move at all. Okay, and that's what we want. So now I can use the move tool. I can take this and I can drag this down just to see if it fits perfectly. Boom, and it does. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Nice job. All right. Next, how do you know each of the sides of the shape are the same length? Show or explain your reasoning. Okay, so how do I know that the sides are all the same? How do I know that this green side and all these other purple sides are exactly the same length? Well, the answer has to do with the compass tool. Notice that we used the compass tool and we clicked these two dots. We could have also clicked these two dots. The distance from the center of a circle, let's look at this circle right here, right? The distance from the center of a circle out to the edge is called the radius, and that is a line segment or a distance, right? And it's always going to be the same, right? If I'm holding a string with a set of keys on it and I swing it around and around and around in a circle, this center point would be my hand, and the whistle or the set of keys would go around and around. The string length would stay the same. So this green piece here, this green line segment, would stay the same length no matter what. The string doesn't change length. And so that would be the same length as this purple one. And if I know that these two are the same length, I can start to look at this circle over here, and I can go, you know what? This radius right here has to be the same as this radius right here because we're using the same length string to make each one of these circles. And as I go around and around, all the way around each circle, you can say the same thing about. The radius is the same from F to G as it is from F to E. And now if I look at this circle, the one that has a center at E, I can say from E to F is the same distance as from E to D. And then I can do the same thing for this circle with D at the center. I can say from D to E has to be the same distance as from D to this dot right here that doesn't have a name, right? You know, we could put some text in here. Let's do this. We'll put A right here in the middle so we can talk about it. And we'll also put B right here so we can talk about that. And we'll put C down here so that we can at least talk about that. There we go. So this in the center here is point A. This right here is point B, and this right here is point C. So the distance from A to B, we use this radius the whole time, right? We could have used from B to C, right? It would have been the same all the way around. So that's how I know that all of these edges, all of the sides of the shape, the hexagon, are the same length. Because we used the same radius to make every one of the circles, and each side of this hexagon is made up of one of those radiuses, or radii, if you want to use the proper term. Task 11, that's the all-star question. Okay? It's a brain bender, all right? What do you know? How far can you push yourself? Okay? I'm not going to go over it. Move on to the practice section.